Buddies, welcome to AmassGames. My name is Simon. This is the top 10 most thematic games relating to board games. Now, setting is very different to actually a theme. Behind me I've got meadow. It's just a meadow. That's it. There is some theme going on, but a theme means typically relates to actually the mechanisms very much integrated. I'll give you a great example of that later on into this list. So all of these games I do have in front of me, or I'll have a link through to them as well, apart from, I think, only two, but one of them is kind of a derivative of that game anyway. The first one in the list is in fact the game I don't have in front of me, and that is Star Wars Imperial Assault. This is very much called Star Wars in a box, a great way whereby you are dungeon crawling and fighting your way through. Is pretty much a re-implementation of the game Descent, which I highly recommend you play out as well. And it's one of the best dungeon crawls out there. So very interesting game. I prefer Descent over Star Wars Imperial Assault slightly, but it's a very skirmish-driven game as well, and hopefully find that one interest. Next up, we've got a game which, funny enough, is another something inside of a box. And this is a game you can play as well and check out on the channel, numerous videos. This is War of the Ring. So War of the Ring, this is very much, again, Lord of the Rings in the box. Apologies, I've got something in my eye there, probably the dust. And as always, people sometimes say, why do I not just have an image through to it? Well, partially that's just because the speed in which I'm making these videos, I presently don't have the time to do that, but also it shows you have physically got a copy of the game, which has a bit more integrity, in my opinion, compared to just showing an image and maybe the fact it doesn't show that I've played the game. And you can tell that actually I do have a video for it too. The next up, we have got a game called Findorf. Now, this is very much a reimplementation of the game Power Grid in some respects. I find it Power Grid light. You might have seen my videos for this too. And this is a game whereby, yes, it's like the 19th century, late 19th century, and you're building out coal and you're building out steel and rail, and you're looking to basically make the villagers and the people of Findorf very happy. It's named after this chap Findorf too, not this perhaps chap in particular. But what you're looking to do is, yeah, you have various different levels of coal and peat that you're going to get through and rail, and you're going to be going out and making sure that you can do your best job possible to get the most points, to make sure people are satisfied to win the game. So that is Findorf. Again, check my full video for a bit more understanding of that one. Now, the next one doesn't have an IP attached to it, but it's very, very much a sandbox game, and that is Western Legends. I've left in shot with all the expansions and the wooden insert, which you can check out as well. More videos coming for that as well. And this is very much do whatever you like on a board, but the fact that you can gamble, obviously they're actually poker cards, you're playing poker to play stuff out. The fact that you can choose to rob things, the fact that you can choose to rustle cattle, get on a train, do all kinds of stuff, become a sheriff, become an outlaw. Very much a thematic game in my opinion. And I highly recommend you check it out. Well, especially like again, if you want to immerse yourself, much like a role-playing experience, all of these games will do that for you. And role-playing games in particular, I'm not a massive fan of because I get too immersed in them. I've almost shed a tear because I've been someone who was humiliated by a cop in France. Was in one role-playing experience I had in the game Game Over, which you can check out on the channel as well. Okay, so next up, actually, I don't have this in front of me, but again, there's a link through which I do a copy that I've played, and that's available to me if you want me to see more videos for, and that is Pret-a-Porter or Pret-a-Porter. This is very much running a fashion shop. You don't want to get too much of a certain thing out because then it becomes too common, and yes, it's very much a worker placement game which you might want to check out too. That's by Portal. So next up, we have got a game which is, I'd already mentioned it earlier, before Findorf came around, it was Power Grid, and in my opinion, I think it's quite rightly regarded as the first thematic game in some respects. The game whereby you have got different fluxes of power. Do you want to get loads of coal, which means the more coal you get, you're driving down its efficiency or its price, or do you want to get more gas? But the more gas you have, again, it's in flux in terms of the price, so it's more in demand, or maybe go for nuclear energy or clean energy, such as solar, etc. So after that, we've got another game, which is a do anything you like on the board, and this is Fields of Arle, whereby you can breed cattle or sheep or even horses and slaughter them, and not only slaughter them for meat and maybe get more stuff out of it that way, you can actually get out hides, and you can then get to go to weavers and tanners to then turn that into wool and leather and stuff like this, and flax, because you can do that with cornfields and stuff, or fields in general, and therefore you might want to farm those fields, or maybe you want to get certain buildings out. Actually, you can see me on Instagram in front of this building as well. So you can do all those different things. Again, anything you like to do, but very much it's thematic. You are a farmer, so you are doing anything that is related to farming. And again, such a great experience, very thematic. It makes me, I lost my first 7 games of it, and people would say, be a farmer. And it was great, I absolutely loved it. And from then on, I was okay at it. Okay, so next up we have a game I don't have in front of me, but you can see on the channel. No longer have the game, in fact, presently, but that is called Dead of Winter. Quite hard to get hold of. It's the most immersive experience I've had. It's perhaps, in some respects, not as strong in terms of the mechanisms relating to setting over theme, and I'll have maybe a separate list to do the top 10 settings. But this was played on a very dark, late October night in the UK in a pub, and whilst that wasn't winter necessarily, it did feel like the dead of winter. It was a very cold night, and we were playing, and I think we're playing as a 5 or a 6. You can play it cooperatively. There's 30 modes cooperatively, 30 competitively. On the cooperative mode, level 8 is really hard. We've ended up giving up numerous times. That's why we passed on the game, because it was just so difficult to do. I don't know anyone who's completed level 8, to be honest. But this is a game whereby you're fighting off zombies. You're looking to get to a gas station, which will have gas, which you can use to get maybe Molotov cocktails. Maybe want to go and get some medicines. So you're more likely to find that at like a hospital, but you might get some in a gas station, but not as frequently. So it's very thematic and very immersive. And like I said, it's the game that I've actually felt most immersed into, speaking about role-playing and doing stuff like that. So 2 more games to mention to you. I no longer have this game anymore, but this is a game that I had until very recently, and that is Raptor. So this is very much Jurassic Park in a box in some respects. It's a 2-player only asymmetric game. Check out my asymmetric playlists, which I've got coming soon as well. Not just the playlists, which you can find, but also my top 10 lists, and there's actually going to be 40 plus games in that list as well. But this is a game whereby it's Jurassic Park in a box. There's numerous Jurassic Park in a boxes, to be honest, with the likes of Dinogenics, which is slightly better in my opinion than Dino World or Dinosaur World. Also Dinosaur Island, and I think Dinosaur Island is better than Dinosaur World. But this game is all about the hunt for those raptors, and you're either playing as the hunters or basically playing as the scientists, or you're playing as the raptors, and you're looking to have that mother try and get your babies to safety, or the scientists trying to get the scientists, I guess in some respect, to safety too. So this is kind of what you're trying to handle, and it's a very enjoyable game whereby, yes, using jeeps to get around, you're looking to use a mother's call to move around too, and again, it immerses you in that experience. So that immersion is the key word here, relating to, I guess, the theme, but again, it's what you're doing, which means it's a theme and not just a setting. The final game I do have in front of me, and it's a bit of a strange choice of some, it is the pinned post on Instagram, and that is the Quacks of Quedlinburg. Now, why is this the case? Well, there are other games which have things explode and do something which go, okay, let's just chuck a theme on top. So you could say it's pasted on, but I think it is very well integrated. The fact that what you're doing here is you're choosing to get various different potions and cauldrons and concoctions, and into your cauldron, yes, fair enough, they're all the same. It does mean that you can avoid exploding if you time it just right. So it's a bit of a strange one, this one, but I just feel that it is quite thematic because you're pressing your luck, and that is all it is. But it's a pasted on theme, but for me, it does work for me, and it is fun thinking that you're messing around. There's lots of other choice I could probably put in for that 10 as well, and I might consider that as a fair option that I might swap that out. But I'm keen to know what your thoughts are. Have you played any of these games? Which have you played? Which haven't you played? What would you maybe substitute in for Quacks? And also, what else would you generally have for main thematic game, or maybe even a setting game, so I can start considering options for that. But thanks very much for watching. As always, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. You can check out other images I've already got over on Instagram, and more coming too. The podcast as well I'll be doing, and yes, various other top 10 lists I'll be doing too. So keep checking out that playlist. Thanks for watching. For now, back to the table.